Paul Ryan, I don't know what happened. I don't know. He called me 2-3 weeks ago. It was a very nice conversation. I figured routinely he'd be behind it. And he, the other day, just did a big surprise because I have had so many endorsements.
Donald Trump just moments ago still surprised by House Speaker Paul Ryan's statement he's not ready to endorse Donald Trump and that it's mostly up to Trump to unify the party. Let's bring in our panel. Charles Hurt of the Washington Times, Amy Walter from the Cook Political Report, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Well, Ryan's statement, and I've got to say, that was a pretty remarkable thing to see Paul Ryan being booed at a Trump rally. His statement didn't just surprise Trump, but most of the political world. I should say that Ryan walked it back slightly today, saying that he's very happy he's going to be meeting with Donald Trump on Thursday. But where do things stand right now, Amy?
This is a party, we've been talking about this for some time now, Charles especially, that is broken apart, and I don't know how it gets put back together. And it's not just Paul Ryan that has said that he doesn't know if he's going to endorse. We now, of course, have Jeb Bush saying he's not going to vote for either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. We're going to see more high-profile Republicans finding a way to distance and detach themselves. I don't know what Ryan's next move is on this. On the one hand, he's doing it to protect his vulnerable members, many of whom are terrified with running with a very polarizing figure at the top of the ticket and saying you can insulate yourselves, you can try to run away from him. But at some point, there's going to have to be a coming together of the two sides. It's going to be quite an awkward convention to see Paul Ryan up there leading his party. He's the chairman of the convention, not supporting the person who's getting the nomination. But at the end of the day, I think this is a Paul Ryan making sure that Donald Trump comes to him, not the other way around.
Can he do that, Charlie? I mean, who's got the leverage here?
Well, I think that Donald Trump has the leverage here, and I think Amy's exactly right. Obviously, Paul Ryan wants to do everything he can to protect his members, and both people in the House and the Senate who are having to run for re-election in places that are not Donald Trump country. But none of this bodes well for the leadership or for the party. Back when it looked like Donald Trump wasn't going to get to 1237 and there was going to have to be some sort of massaging to get him over the hump, everybody was talking about, well, you got to obey the rules, go back to the rules, look at the rules. And now that it looks like he is going to get to it, they're all picking up their marbles and trying to walk away. And so I think that Donald Trump absolutely, because it does look like he's going to get that 1237 by the rules, does hold the cards here. And the sooner that the party gathers around, I mean, what are they going to do? Do a third party? I mean, how does that help Republicans?
You know, it's interesting, as you two talk about the quandary, President Obama is taking some delight in this divide inside the GOP, and he weighed in on that today.
Their standard bearer at the moment is Donald Trump. And I think not just Republican officials, but more importantly, Republican voters are going to have to make a decision as to whether this is the guy who speaks for them and represents their values.
He really is quite happy in this situation, isn't he?
Yes, he's watching this with delight. Look, I think it is true that there are tactical reasons for Ryan doing this to protect his members. The more cynical comments have been about he's looking for his own run at 2020 in the future. He's trying to appease his donors. I think that's rubbish. I think what's happened here, if you step back for a second, the Republicans have experienced the biggest ideological earthquake of a major party in our lifetime. 50, 60 years of conservatism has now yielded to a leader who's not a conservative, but who's a populist. That's a big deal. And I think what the Ryan statement is, the Ryan equivocation is, he's saying if the party is now going to be split between the leader, the populist, and the old line conservatives, whether they're establishment or not, doesn't matter. You've got establishment and non-establishment. He wants to establish a center of power and a kind of home for the conservative wing. He wants to do it through policy, which he'll propose. And that's who he is. He's a policy wonk. He's a reformicon, the young reformers who have ideas how to fix the country from the point of view of a conservative philosophy. And what he's saying to Trump, yes, you won. You won the popular vote. You deserve what you have, but you're going to have to reckon with the conservatives, even if you aren't one, and that's what the meeting will be about. Will there be a change in policy, an adjustment in the platform as a way to say we're going to try to make the two philosophies coexist?
But could you have a situation, forget a third party, where Trump runs his campaign for president and the Republicans, the tried and true Republicans, the conservatives in the House and the Senate run their own campaign?
That's what I think is the leverage that the conservatives have. Yes, Charlie's right that Trump has the leverage because he'll control the convention. He controls the apparatus. He's going to have all the money. He'll be dominating the news. But the other guys have a kind of negative leverage, which is they don't have to run a third party. All they got to do is stay home or show interest only in the down ballot races. Not out of malice, but simply as a way of saying he's not a conservative, so I don't have a vested interest. I don't have an interest in seeing it prevail and preempt conservatism as the ideology of the party.
And then there is liberal Senator Elizabeth Warren, who went on what's being called a Twitter tirade today. Let's put some of those up. Excuse me. Here's what else is real, she tweeted. Donald Trump has built his campaign on racism, sexism, and xenophobia. And then there was this. I'm going to fight my heart out to make sure Donald Trump's toxic stew, that's a delicious thing, toxic stew, of hatred and insecurity never reaches the White House. Amy, I guess we can put her down as a definite maybe on Trump.
Yeah, she's in the, I don't know, I'm weighing my options. Yes. Trump curious.
She's in the Ryan camp.
Right? She is.
Thinking
not ready.
Yeah. This is the challenge that Donald Trump has going forward, which is he has a divided party that's not sure they're going to get on board with him. I've looked through the data here. National Journal did a whole story, for example, saying that if Donald Trump wants to turn out these new voters, and he can, there may be new voters for him to turn out, but without the people that voted for Romney plus the new voters, even when they added that all up, it didn't equal enough to win these swing states, especially in Rust Belt states. He's going to need to win over the kinds of voters that Mitt Romney didn't win either, which is Latinos, younger people, and women. And that's exactly what Elizabeth Warren is doing right there, is to say, let's make sure we keep his numbers, Donald Trump's numbers, as low as we possibly can among those groups so that he is as toxic with the growing part of the electorate that needs to turn out for Hillary Clinton.
In about 15, 20 seconds, is it possible after all is said and done to win back women, to win back pardon?
I don't think so, no. You don't get to win them back after what you've said. And what Elizabeth Warren is going to do and what Democrats are going to do is make those words come back over and over and over again. You don't get to erase them. It's not possible.